we received about 135,000 calls in 12 months. Now, of those calls, about 52,000 almost became full investigations. Of those now, we got 100% of reports are assigned. Response times are faster. Our backlogs, which people have been talking much about, when I started last year, the backlog was at about 16,200 and continuing to go up and up and up and up. And today we're about 10,100 and continuing to go down safely, I might add. So the next big issue for us is the amount of kids in out-of-home care. Obviously that is huge. And there's just about 18,900 children in care. And of those, close to 8,000 are with family. About 70, some hundred, over 7,000 are with licensed foster homes. About 2,600-ish are in group homes or congregate care settings, which we want to lower. Reasonable caseloads are starting to return here. So we have an immense problem, which is children in care, and the amount of time they're in care before they get reunified with their families or eligible to be adopted by another forever home. So
reasonable and prudent parenting. What have you seen your agency doing as far as putting that in place?
Well, when the federal rule went into place, we redid rulemaking here. So we brought in all of the foster care licensing agencies. We brought in all of the group home coalitions, and we had to remake rule this last fall. Staff got to see and listen to the children that aged through the group home foster care system and now aged out, and they recounted some of their life experiences that were not reasonable, that were not what a normal child's life is all about. One of our big goals is to eliminate the sins of the past. We've been carrying this backlog forward for 3 to 5 years. And what that makes is somebody not only has their daily incoming work, but they have the work from the last 3 years plus to have to deal with too. So we now have the backlog under control to the point where our analysis of incoming caseloads is actually below the national standard for the first time in many years. So I think the information is there now more than ever, and just trying to increase the amount of presence on our website with certain things that we have now on our website and Facebook pages in ways that staff can get more dialed in.
Of course, you guys are training people to go out into the licensing agencies. Are you also training the caseworkers on this information?
Yeah, we train our caseworkers, and then there's training for foster parents, there's training for group homes. But to your point, it's true. There was a bit of a breakdown between rule and execution and application and understanding. So what happened is back in the fall, there was a need for new rulemaking authority. And those rules were being made, and there was public comment and all these different things going on. And eventually the rules were about done, fortified, and we started to hear a lot of complaints about what those rules shaped up as. So we stopped the rulemaking process, we engaged all the stakeholders, we brought them all in for multiple different meetings and what they think the rules should reflect. Between DCS and the licensing agencies and the foster families and the rulemaking, it wasn't laid out there so it could be done seamlessly. So that's one of the things on the wall back there, a breakthrough project I just pointed out that's starting next week with the Office of Licensing and Regulation to get them to understand things like reasonable and prudent parenting, what has to go into the licensure process. Basically,
people are worried that if the caseworkers don't know that they don't have to get permission from them anymore, that might be a problem.
Oh no, no, I'm not concerned about that. But it's good to hear that, because again, when you have rules being made and then they're implemented and they affect people, because there was no real follow through. There was a rule and then there was no execution on the other side. So, foster, they're expressing a concern that a caseworker will then hold them accountable if they abide by reasonable and prudent parenting standard that the caseworker didn't know applied. Is that what you're talking about?
Possibly, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's a valid concern, but it's one that is being dealt with through training. The issue comes from time. So when there's a lack of time to really effectively engage people at the level they need to be engaged upon, then there's this rush, there's this lack of information, there's this lack of respect, that none of it is condonable. And it's all a byproduct of many, many, many years of carrying so much work forward that no one could do their daily work properly, effectively. So that's what we're addressing so heavily in this backlog and the permanency roundtables we're having to get children out of the system faster, because when caseworkers have too many kids on their caseload, they don't take the needed time to really serve our partners, the foster families, who are doing the vital work of caring for our children that need to be cared for.